For the past 20 years, I've worked with some of the top Fortune 500 companies, helping them achieve some of their marketing goals. My focus has always been tying together brands with influencers, athletes, celebrities, YouTube stars, as well as cause marketing to really achieve some of their marketing goals. Over the past 3 years, I've focused on the CBD and cannabis industry. I have a few brands of my own, as well as a handful of licenses in the cannabis space. I started out by spending about 3 months with the grandfather of cannabis, Professor Meshulam, at the Israeli University, Jerusalem University in Israel, and really to understand and grasp where the industry was at, where the product was at, and then came back and opened a few of my own brands here. I have been marketing and branding for about 10 different brands within the space and launched them into the industry, both on the marketing and the distribution side. In this industry, as I'm sure every one of you know, there is no standard. There's a huge lack of education, both on the consumer side as well as the manufacturing and branding side. And many brands out there just try to cut a lot of corners and really don't make it. That's why there's so many. And over the next 12 to 24 months, we'll probably see a big shift in that as both the consumers and the retailers become a little bit more savvy. What I do with brands is I try to identify and align SMART goals to basically use our extensive network to create strategic partnerships for them, both with celebrities and influencers as well as with retailers and other manufacturers. Our main goal is to help you become the standard, because there is no standard and we need to set that standard. There's a gap, right? So I sit on a number of boards. I work closely with the Bureau in California. I work closely with Food and Agriculture, and the same thing comes up time and time again, which is lack of understanding and education, lack of consistency. So as brands, those are things that you're going to want to focus on even before you launch your brand and before you go to market, is really understanding both what the market needs as well as your responsibility to the consumer. Well, I can stand here and tell you a lot about my achievements and everybody I've worked with, which I think at least is pretty cool. But I'd love to hear from you guys and get questions and see what your thoughts and where you think the direction of the industry is going. When we're talking about CBD, right? So initially they started in the smoke shop world, where the branding really isn't the same, and the marketing and even the product line isn't the same as when you go into mainstream. Now that mainstream slowly but surely is opening up, they have to rebrand. They have to look at it differently. They have to make it a little bit more relatable to the average consumer who isn't savvy as the cannabis consumer, or even the average person who walks into a smoke shop. It needs to be the soccer mom. We sell to her a little bit differently than we sell to, the 10 years ago average smoke shop consumer or tobacco consumer. It's a little bit different. As for my brands, the brands that I started out, I actually chose to stay away initially from the smoke shop and cannabis world with them, and I went straight into independent pharmacies where mainstream could get educated about the product. Right now, two of our brands are distributed in about 3,000 locations in independent pharmacies with anywhere from 10 to 100 locations each. And then we're also distributed in C-stores with Cormark and McLean.
Do you work with startup companies or established companies?
We work with both. So we work with startup companies to understand your goals and your vision. So most consultant agencies want to tell you what to do. In this industry, we can't tell you what to do. You have a very specific vision that you have, and we need to try to mold your vision to make it standard to the industry. So we work with both. Anyone else?
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Oh, there's one more right there.
Yeah. So when you do strategy, do you also reach out into like future casting, what you think the industry will be, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so it really depends on the needs of the company and the brand. We do everything from, we can do start to finish, meaning we can help you design. We bring in our engineers and our specialists to help you create your design, your outlook of your product, your formulations if you need that. We sometimes will tweak your formulation a little bit to really conform a little bit more to mainstream if needed. Otherwise, we definitely look at where you're at today, look at the challenges that you face or you have faced, and look at what the ideal scenario for distribution would be, new products, new SKUs, and how they would adapt to the market.
And like potential threats, black swan events to help the client pivot if that were to occur.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
Absolutely. And like I said, a lot of times we'll bring in, depending on the product, we'll bring in the celebrity or athlete or influencer to help align with the brand. We also look at the cause marketing factor and see with certain retailers that makes a very big difference. So, do all of that.
You exhaust your startup companies, you let